You mean this entire time? Because I forgot to add in. Yes, yes. How long is this? Nearly half an hour that I've just been talking silently. Fuck it. Yeah, I was just kind of muttering to myself on drawing, and also recently watching a lot of Star Wars What If, fan-made What Ifs, not like what Marvel has with it, What Ifs. And also, for that comment, uh, LB, I mean, it's kind of Ivo Robotnik, kind of not. I don't know, like, I saw this one Ivo Robotnik design that was so far removed from the idea of Ivo Robotnik that I kind of had my own idea for a character. Nah, the stripes need to be bigger. Yeah, crap. I've been listening to a lot of Star Wars what ifs. Like, what if Mace Windu trained Anakin Skywalker? What if Palpatine died on the Invisible Hand? Even some real crazy ones like, what if the Jedi built the Death Star? That one was a particular trip. God, I am... The fact these aren't even... Hold on. But one in particular, what if the Jedi joined the CIS, kind of got my gears spinning, because it honestly seemed like a pretty interesting concept. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I just really like the idea of Grievous and Anakin working together as commanders. It actually got me looking in to see if there were any fan fictions that toy with the idea, and not many. I mean, they're typically like, there's plenty of CIS focus stories, but what? At all I recognize there is egg, so I'm just gonna assume it's an Eggman comment. But no, this doesn't look quite what I'm going for. Maybe I made it too round. Or did I put the shoulder too close? Yeah, let's just see where this design goes. Sorry, I keep like nicking the metal thing of my desk. I have to have my mic right in front of me, so that means I have to... Spanish for I am Eggman. Did you Google Translate that? Or did you like look up the Spanish rendition of I am the Eggman? Is there even, like, surely there has to be like I am the Eggman in different languages. Can't just be English. What was I going to... I don't know, the arm is just... You do something about that arm. Yeah, I'm redoing the arm. Like, okay, extending it out a bit instead of making it so overtly round. Yeah. Bit more of a defined shoulder. Yeah, still probably like that. Or maybe... And then... and I use it to proofread. Okay, I use Google Translate to proofread because I usually add "de" to stuff, so would have read "I am the man of egg." Hmm. I, sup- I suppose with Google Translate, a broken clock is right twice a day. I underscore it a bit more. Yeah, it looks better. And I need to fix this shoulder here. I don't know if this will like outright replace my Garden Warfare streams. I'll probably still be playing Garden Warfare, but I do want to draw more often, and streaming just seems like a convenient way to do that. Hmm. Yeah, that works. And then that's the head. That's that. If I'm gonna want this to copy over cleanly, probably best to do something like this. How's the feet go? No, wait, I still need to do the sleeve and hand regardless. And the foot should be easier though. Which were the legs again? I need to zoom in here. Probably better to use a line tool. Can I straighten it out? Maybe bend it a little bit. Yeah. Don't know how big this actually is in comparison to the body. It looks good enough. Damn, I should have gone with a purely straight line. Maybe a bit longer? And more curved. Okay, that just looks weirder. kind of back on that Star Wars thing I was talking about. One thing I always found interesting, and I think was severely underutilized in a lot of cases, was Anakin's like role as a general. God, no, that doesn't look right either. Was Anakin's role as a general in the Clone Wars? Because I know in the time of the Empire, he became Palpatine's enforcer, so he was more sent on like specialized missions. Okay, let's just shorten it and start over. He went on more specialized missions. And I thought it was honestly cooler as a general, leading armies instead of task forces. Hmm. Nah, heal's too moved up here. Okay, I'll just like there. Something seems off about this. Don't know what, but something seems mildly off. Let's try doing this. Yeah, I'm kind of so far from the idea of professional art is that it almost hurts. And yet, I draw anyways. I guess the fact that it was almost too straight. It needs to have like a bit of a curve to it. Better? Yeah, I can't tell. Getting too wrapped up in the minutia, the tiny details. Yeah, this was the arm. That's not what I wanted to. Hmm. That's the wrong brush. Yeah, it's not that noticeable. Everything looks so sketchy already. Hmm. How to do the hand? Those circles. Maybe like boxing glove style? Yeah, sort of. Probably more like... Hmm. Would probably be around here-ish. Eh, maybe the one I started with was better. No. This needs to be smaller. Needs to look like it's being blocked off by the other finger. Hmm. Mm. Eh. I keep knocking the metal thing onto my desk. Ah. I mean... no, something's missing. There's something not quite right, actually. The palms, or palm. Something's too small. Whatever this section would be. I mean, it kind of fits, but Okay, let's try expanding it out a bit. Or just starting over. Oh, that's all rounded. Better? No, that's too sharp. Maybe... that looks too round. Or do I just need... to edit this a bit? I mean, it's close. You can kind of see how I end up doing my art. Very, I guess you could, to put it kindly, piecemeal, if you will. Okay, now I'm just back to square one. Alright, Damn, that's good. Yeah, good enough. Hands are the bane of every artist, to be fair. I don't think I've met a single person who draws on a semi-consistent or professional level that hasn't at least made one joke about how hard hands are to draw. Yeah, I want to move the head. Hmm. Oh, yes. Anything else that I would put here? Oh, maybe cufflinks. Cufflinks? Dots. Circles. Something here. Or does it look better to be just rolled up sleeves? Over here, maybe? Yeah, probably. Yeah, it looks better just be gloves or something. But maybe... Hmm. Maybe if I just... Maybe simplicity is the best. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Eh. Yeah, I'll take it. And then maybe just for an extra bit of detail. If I wanted to do that, I should have made the hands bigger. If I make the hands bigger, well, bigger, longer, that's not the right layer. But this layer, this layer. Oh, that actually does kind of help. Now do I put... How did they go again? Was it between... No, it was... like that, I think. Yeah, it looks close enough. And then just a few more touch-ups. I know reasonably you shouldn't be spending all this time on the details of a sketch, but screw it, it's my stream, I'll do what I want. And just for simplicity's sake, group, duplicate, and image mirror. Oddly. No, it's a layer. Layer. Not... I was thinking stock here, but this works fairly well. I know it looks like Eggman, and... Okay, to be fair, it is very much Eggman adjacent inspired. Whatever that collection of words means. Nah, maybe something a bit rounder. If anything... No. Eh. Ah. Better idea. Circular? No, square. Square? Yes, square. Square. Then maybe round it at the edges a bit. Symmetry? Yeah, probably for the best. I don't want to, like, cut like so. Right. Also use merge a lot. Hmm. Yeah, no, it would go under the neck. I mean, if it goes under the neck and it's hunched, nah, probably better to just keep it low-ish. And then instead of having a clear seam, maybe just buttons. Yeah. And now here's the part where we make it legally distinct from Eggman. Ah, crap, I just realized this doesn't exactly line up well with the head. You know what, I'll be, like, tracing over the head circle here anyway, so who cares? I want to get rid of that first. Hmm. That's not what I wanted to press. I should have done the eyes first, shouldn't I, instead of this brim. Ha. Oh well, already on it. Here? Nah, it needs to be taller. And what I should have done. Yeah, because then I wouldn't be. Would it fit the tilt neatly? Ah, who am I kidding? As if we're worried about neatness here. It's a sketch, for God's sakes. Hmm. Hmm. Nope, nope, that looks off. Much worse than I thought. Okay, plan B. By that I mean starting from scratch and doing this. Ah, shape tools, you ever useful thing. I could have sworn this is not lined up. He's not lined up exactly. Okay, there we go. Much better. And how about you? No, no. Ah, God, every time. And if I select both of you at the same time, there we go. Hmm. There. Sort of. That's close enough that I can now do this. Hats are always more stylish when tilted. I should have brought the rim down a bit more. Ah, okay. You know what? I'll fix that later. First, let's just see how this looks like. Eh. Sounds I should like work on more solid brush strokes. You know, some artists who are able just to singular lines. The natural sketchiness of this brush in particular does kind of hide it. I know there are artists out there who like just do the same line over and over again for hours. How? I have no idea. Well, that's what separates me as someone who does this more of just a random hobby I get into once a month, versus someone who does this on a more professional level. How does this look? Awful. I'll be keeping you instead. See, this is not Eggman. My guy has a funny hat. Nah, bigger. And I just want to see how this looks. So... wrong one. Slightly worse looking. Nothing that a few extra brush strokes can't fix, I suppose. That look roughly correct. No, and there. There. No, there. Yeah, that looks about right. Bring the bow tie down a bit, perhaps. Nah, that looks too odd. And then get rid of the... hat looks a bit light. I think I can get rid of the guide by this point. Where's the guide? Oh. Well, that works. Right. It's practically finished. What is this place? It's practically finished by this point. So I'll probably just have a single. Krita has this other thing where if you where you're supposed to be able to hold it down in order to pull up a menu. But the thing is, it also does that if you don't like move your brush like in a wide enough area. Nah, something's missing here. Just an extra bit of detail. Yeah, that looks nice. Maybe a bit more detail in the glasses as well. Damn it! Yeah. Oh wait, also, like, I suppose also... Nah. Always difficult when you don't use the mirror tool. How should I handle the nose? And should I even have a nose to begin with? I feel like a nose might ruin things. Let's take a look-see. I mean, there's the perspective of this nose. Nah, that makes them look like Voldemort. Let's try connecting them together. I know, that just looks odd to me. Just a single line? No. Smaller line. Still no. Yeah, I think this is good. I like how this looks. I could stand to add more to the hat. Like make the lines thicker. Also, never really did come up with a name for whatever this design is. Kind of just always give it the working name Pops. And I think Pops is a fitting name for this character. I completely messed up that brim. Damn it. I don't know. Okay, I swear like there was some weird things going on because there is like a noticeable dip here. I guess rotating it has its own like issues. Pockets. Why not? Just a few smaller details here and there. His pants curve too much here. Damn. Yeah, I think this is good enough at the very least. Yeah, but what if I'm not even like bothering with the layers anymore. Voila. Does this actually matter for anything? No? Okay. Yeah, we'll call it Pops for now. And do I? I mean, I could stand to draw some more interesting poses of the character. Yeah, but what? Hmm. I never know what to draw. Well, it's just hard to come up or really get my mind focused on what to draw. No. Maybe something will come to mind. I do have a different idea, I believe. I think. I vaguely remember. Sorry, just taking a sip of coffee. Had a absolutely brilliant idea. You see, there's this instant coffee powder that I have that tastes a bit too creamy for my, well, taste. But then I also have like an actual coffee maker that I use with ground coffee. So I thought, what if I just make a small cup of coffee and then use the instant coffee as a creamer, or like a powdered creamer? I am no doubt taking double the necessary amount of caffeine that is recommended, and my kidneys are dying as we speak. Crap, what was I gonna draw next? Hmm. On the, I remember I used to draw a lot more back when I was more doing like analog stuff, pen and paper stuff, pencil and paper. You get the point. I drew a lot more when I was using pencil and paper, and one of the things that I severely miss about it is uh is being able to like turn the page around. Can't really do that as effectively with a drawing pad, I find. It was like the right length. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, just being a bit more, I guess, freeform with this one. Hmm. Body's a bit at an angle this time round. So that means that I won't be able to as cleanly do stuff. Bollocks. Can I actually say that? I know it's like a British cuss word, I think. I don't know, it almost doesn't sound like a curse word. Like, it's too ridiculous to sound like a proper curse. You know? Eh. Hmm. Just kind of trying to get an idea of where everything should be now. Surely having a reference to utilize would make this easier, but oh my... eh. Right here, I believe. Hmm. I used to not draw humans that much either. Or at least humanoids, I guess you could call them. Mostly objects, machinery, those were always my comfort zone, mind you. Humans, anatomy, not so much. I mean, I took anatomy classes as a part of just my general arts education. Well, anatomy classes. Anatomy was taught in my art classes as like art for anatomy for the specifics of art rather than like an actual anatomy class. And that's the thing. People always say, "Oh, learn an anatomy when going into art." Like when they say that, they don't mean take an actual anatomy class. Because I assure you, an actual anatomy class is going to be like 20% useful stuff for your art, and then the rest will be a medical degree. So unless you're like, I'd say like unless you have a hobby in like medicine, I don't like actually go to anatomy class. Like just ask artists for advice on doing anatomy, or like ask your teacher or our teacher for lessons or advice on anatomy. Because a lot of the time, what I find is that anatomy is mostly used as just guidelines, a way to know how long the arms should be, where the hip should be placed, and then past that point, anatomy is more like a general suggestion. Mind you, I'm still just like randomly sketching things out. No. The annoying part is like feeling you're not actually going anywhere when you do certain art. Was that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. I think. No, that wasn't the right one. Like I said, I personally was always more of a fan of less human looking ones. That, or I guess you'd say characters that may that the closest thing to human is that they have 2 arms and 2 legs. I mean, on one hand, it might be pertinent to just go back through my old paper sketches, which were honestly, in most cases, a lot cleaner, and then just trace over my old sketches rather than trying to create entirely new stuff or going off my rocker. I don't think that's how the saying is used properly in this instance. Going completely free form, free hand, fucking leaves in the wind. I don't fucking know. Ah, did I make this thing too high? I think I did. Like that? No. Worse. How did it form again? Are the arms around here? I'm trying to go off of this old drawing from memory. But I don't quite remember the bits and bobs. No. Feet were more forward facing. Forward facing? No, downward facing. Straight? Straight, that's the word. Wrong one, but... Ah! Maybe it would be pertinent to just... Yeah, it would. I'll hide these for now, but just in case I can't find it. But... Which side are you on? Can't find the blasted drawing I was thinking of, so this'll have to do. Not at the original one I was planning on drawing. Had something else in mind, but... Let's do you first. Technically, I already did this character digitally. The problem was that was the first digital drawing I did. And I didn't know what brush settings were at that point. I feel like this is too large of a brush size. That's better. I still don't really have a good feel for the brushes, even after the time I have spent using Krita. I should really turn up the opacity, shouldn't I? Not even gonna bother with layers since I'm just tracing over my physical sketch. Maybe that's what I really should have done focus more on. Just going over all of my paper sketches in digital. Hmm. Technically, I did have... Maybe after I do this sketch, I'll like find the original digitized sketch I did of this character and show or kind of explain why I haven't really utilized or posted that one. I wouldn't say it's finished. And again, I suppose... Oh, that's neither here nor there. I don't know. Maybe I'll still post it. I plan on posting this sketch stuff. Because that's another thing I want it to do more often, was actually post the stuff I created. Or post my drawings. And I kept seeing all these things like, make it first, make it good later. Don't know if I'm gonna actually make it good later, but at least I'm making something, you know? It is an odd thing, trying to figure out what you actually care about and what you want to spend your time on. What you just enjoy as a hobby you indulge in from time to time, and what you actually want to dedicate your life to. I don't know where content creation falls for me on that scale. It's fun. It's something I've always wanted to do. But, well, with the amount of spirals I get myself into on stream, you might understand my hesitance to dedicate myself to it. I suppose I should go into a bit more explanation with these characters in particular, since I had like more of an idea for them. Well, one of them at least. The guy I'm currently drawing now. I call him Penguin. And this entire character was basically the full extent of that very pun. I thought it would be funny to have a, I guess, villainous general who is themed after Napoleon and also has a penguin theme going on. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool of a concept. Just the idea of this goofy guy leading his army of inept penguin soldiers. Kind of like more comedic version of the penguin. Penguin's always had a bit of a comedic edge to him, at least in the early days. They've tried to make him more of a serious villain now as like a proper mafioso and monster. I know, I feel like we lost a little fit with the goofy penguin, or when people started turning away from the goofy penguin. I think my favorite version of the penguin isn't so much the unrepentant monster or the goofy heister, but rather I'd say my favorite iteration is the animated series second one. Not the one who acts like a bumbling buffoon, but the one who's like the one who owned the Iceberg Lounge, the one who was like a more calm, collected mob boss. Probably better to use actual circles for those. There is one little issue when it comes to the diff with simply tracing over my previous work. It's that there is a very distinct difference between line density, which makes it harder to have some of these finer details like the buttons or the eyes over here. So I'll just have to like adjust the line size once I get to those points. Or line width. Did I keep these eyes like this? I swear I changed them slightly. Maybe I need to simply just zoom in more. I'm too far away. I keep hitting that. I suppose you can't really blame me. It's difficult. I'm not exactly looking whenever I put my pen down. Yeah, well, I have this small side. I might as well. In the original drawing, he has some very clear pie eyes like you'd see in a lot of old cartoons. I just don't know how effectively I can actually convey that here. Yeah, kind of. Maybe just kind of like... I'll sometimes just fill in black spaces here and there. Nah, that'll just muddy things up a bit. I guess the other thing that kind of inspired this character was that the famous coat or the famous coat Napoleon would wear kind of reminded me of a penguin. That and his just like stout, round appearance reminded me of a penguin as well. Oh, can't believe I forgot that cuff. I keep like straining and bending my wrist every time I switch between my mouse and my drawing tablet. Hmm. I don't know if I'll go back to Garden Warfare for the next stream or if I'll try drawing again. And probably just gonna be dependent on my mood. I know, at this point I've given up scheduling streams in advance because it seems that every time I do, something goes wrong. I lose my nerve, something comes up. Yeah, no. Just find it easier to play it by ear, I guess. Hmm. Yep. Missing a handle here. Or at least something to convey a handle. Every time you take away the base trace away, it looks so much weirder. I suppose that's because you never really notice because the original trace kind of adds color where there isn't any in the God adds color where there isn't any. Hmm. Yeah, the worst. Maybe. Maybe. Hmm. Nah, I'd have to go with Long's Unbroken Strokes, which God knows I can't do. Although I suppose with this, I might as well show off the cleaner, more finished version of this very same character that I did before. Behold. The Penguin, the Finnish version. As you can see, there are like a few differences between the two. Like, I didn't know, I couldn't figure out how to properly angle the feather, so I just removed it. I removed that sort of line for the sword because I kind of thought it was pointless. Changed up how the eyebrows were. And of course, added this little guy. The Penguin's loyal soldier. Look at him. No thoughts behind those eyes. Just absolute loyalty. As it should. I should probably quickly save it. I don't know, maybe I will end up like posting this in some capacity. And of course, let's not forget our other guy here. I think I started on like a proper digital sketch for this guy, but never finished it. Maybe that should be my next project. If any project. I guess you could also tell, especially here, heavily use the shape tools and line tools. This was also before I knew how to properly smooth my lines, so I suspect that hasn't changed much. You know, like, these lines still look pretty pixely to me. Maybe that's just a matter of canvas size, that's the word. Can't say much on this character. Kind of just had the idea of mouse cape link and ran with it. Yeah, that one should be thinner. Actually, let's try 2 for a bit instead of 3. Get like real pencil thin. Don't know why I had such thick lines to begin with. I think I used the thick ones was because the errors weren't as easy to see, or the like shakiness of my hand wasn't as easy to see. Yeah, that's good enough. Should probably like zoom in more though. Ish. I shouldn't dwell too much on that aspect. Trying to thicken the lines. Maybe pertinent to make this even more opaque. That way I can still like see the general shapes, but now I'm able to see which areas are kind of like underlined. Underlined? Like the lines aren't harsh enough, dark enough. Hmm. You know, I actually got my start in when it came to drawing and cartooning. Or at least that's what they called the class, cartooning. Granted, I still had to take like the drawing class for the place beforehand, but then after that came the cartooning class, which was really where I got things picked up. I keep doing that. Of course, with cartooning, I always felt more comfortable with these. Yep. I always felt more comfortable with these less human-looking, more outlandish designs. But I always wanted to draw anime. I liked the art style. I liked how it looked, and so I tried doing that for a few years. And I don't think I ever really mastered it. Mostly just because of how I struggle with human bodies in general. You know, I still try, and I feel like I've gotten better somewhat at ah. I feel like I've gotten somewhat better at anatomy overall. So long as I, of course, like actually spend the time to do it. Instead of like what I'm doing here, I'm kind of just like going through and sketching whatever pops up into my head, or whatever I remember. Guess the other big thing was cartooning that I was apprehensive about is that, I don't know, like it's not something I want to necessarily be attached to. I like doing it, but I want to kind of have that freedom to do whatever art I want, you know? Not just cartoons. Or at least not be stuck in the toony art style. So that's kind of what the anime aspect was. Something different. Hmm. All the time I'd usually have some kind of music in the background, and I'd much as I'd like to have music in the background as I do these art streams, I am also really fucking terrified of copyright. Like that is something I don't really want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Oh, I'm not even sure if having the Garden Warfare soundtrack was the best. I mean, it seems game companies don't really mind their music being used in YouTube videos, even if uh it isn't the person using it isn't playing their game. I mean, I've heard fucking Cuphead music appear in people doing Minecraft videos. Eh, almost. I'd say it looks better. Could have been using this size to begin with. Hmm. kind of feel the need to preface, like when I do start posting art or saying, "Oh, I'm a content creator." I need to preface it with saying amateur beforehand because, I mean, I'm not really taking this seriously if I'm being 100% honest. Kind of just doing what I want when I want it, or what I want when I want to. You can kind of see that with my videos so far. Like if I was being smart about it, I'd pick one of the newer releases of games in the past few months, probably, maybe the past year, and then just hardline with a thing on one specific thing, because that's what they always say. Like the general advice given when starting out YouTube is to not do variety. Now, of course, there's a difference between doing variety and like trying to find your niche. Like I suppose at a certain level, you are allowed to switch things up a bit, you know? Although I've had some pretty drastic switch ups from Balloons Tower Defense to Garden Warfare 2 to now drawing. I know that my people who watched during my Balloons Tower Defense stuff kind of like vanished when I went to Garden Warfare. And I'm not sure if anyone who watched me or joined when I was doing Garden Warfare consistently is all too interested in seeing me do some simple sketches. That really, this channel is mostly for me to do whatever the hell suits my fancy. It really just exists so I have some level of consistency in my life. You know, funny enough, originally this was what I was going to be doing. Like when I first started making this channel, I wanted to do art streams. Not just sketch art, but I actually have some background classes and education in 3D modeling. And I quite like 3D modeling. Thought it'd be and I thought that this channel would be a great way for these streams to help me 3D model more consistently. But that fell through because I wasn't used to talking at the time. Wasn't used to talking while doing things at the time. But gaming on Balloons Tower Defense and Garden Warfare has kind of helped me with that. And now that I can actually like talk semi-consistently while doing various other things, I don't know, maybe I will once again switch things up and now I'm an art channel. Originally, I wanted this channel to be about game design, you know? Or even like, how would I describe? Record progress of games I was working on. But, best laid plans and all that. Now that's... That... How? No. Okay, I feel like here's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good enough. I think the reason... No, I don't think the reason why I never finished this guy was because of symmetry. Because the penguin wasn't symmetrical either. So I'm not sure why I never finished this guy. Or at least I never finished this guy's digital recreation. Didn't even really have that much of a name for the guy. I mean, the penguin had a penguin. That's a pretty dandy pun. But this guy gets kind of called Magician. Yeah, it's fitting. Just a bit basic for a name. I like to think I mainly draw villains. Mostly villains. I like villains. I always found them interesting. Hell, I I guess that's kind of obvious. I announce myself as a professional cartoon villain every single stream. You know, there's a bit of a relaxing quality to just this, you know? Not specifically sketching, but sketching or sketching over your sketches. There's a word for that, but considering how loaded that word is in the art community, I'd rather not say it out loud, in case people get the wrong idea. But with the sketch basically already done on paper, I know, it just makes the actual digital aspect a bit more relaxing. Not to say that art non-digital isn't relaxing, it is, I find it so. Just... nah, I don't know. I suppose actually, well, you know, I never did really go into my own character design, or the PNG I use in all my streams. I mean, there is a reason for that. My character isn't exactly wearing pants, because of course not. But you think of there'd be a single PNG or VTuber who wears pants? How scandalous. Nah. I mean, I've seen some pretty wild stuff on YouTube before. You'd be surprised what some people can get away with because YouTube has absolutely no consistency in how it manages this stuff. Some people will get banned in seconds, others never banned at all. Some people will get demonetized, some people will have their videos marked as adult or for children. But hey, that's just YouTube. You know, maybe I will show... Originally, I didn't want to, like, post my PNG character online, because, well, I'd convinced myself that, oh, before I do that, I have to do a full turnaround. And since I never finished the turnaround, I never ended up posting it, which makes me wonder, did I actually need the turnaround, or was I just giving myself needless conditions in order to delay posting stuff? I mean, turnarounds do look very professional. But, I mean, what's the point if I'm never posting anything to begin with, you know? Yeah. After this stream, finished or not, good or bad, regardless, I'll just find, like, the closest stuff to finished I got and post them. Just so it's out there. Just so I have something, you know? I'm sure many other artists have been like this. Questioning if it's even worth posting their art, if their art is good enough. And of course, everyone's heard the additives of just do it or make it first, make it good later. It's not exactly easy, you know. A lot of times with these motivational quotes and speakers, they make it sound so easy. I guess on some level it is, some of the times. But that doesn't mean it's easy for everyone. Certainly hasn't been for me. And depressing as this may sound, for anyone out there who's gone through like the same song and dance, wondering, this seems so easy, why can't I do it? You're not alone. Lots of people have that same thought process. And oh my god, is it annoying. You constantly wonder if you're the problem, right? Well, you're not, because that suggests that there's a problem to begin with. There isn't. Like, it's okay. You're fine. Everything is fine. As long, really, all that matters in the end is, are you happy? I fucked up this finger. Just realizing that. Okay, let's just... I won't be able to do like the full staff due to like the guy's positioning. Damn. Hey, yeah, this thing needed to be like that. Nope. Too much. Kind of improvising a bit here. That's something. Just a few quick guidelines. Would it have been better to like just change it up and re-angle the staff? It may. Actually, what if I do this? Move pops over here. That way I have some space over here for magician. Or magician's staff. Staff, wand, what have you. Yeah, that looks about right. Then erase the stuff on the hands. And that just makes it look worse. Plan B. More lines. Because, well, I need to make it look thicker. Yeah, that'll do. I'll merge them later. Maybe also try... Yeah, that should, like, clean it up slightly. And I'll just, like, do the staff separately on this layer. We did. Nah. Flat. And then random magical swirly stuff. Gotta love your random magical swirly stuff. That's how you know it's magical. 'Cause swirls. How big is this? Smaller. How does this look? Anything I'm missing? The guy looks like he has several broken bones, but then again, guy also looks like his body is a cardboard box, so... Oh, that's 3 thingies down. Really save this. Hold on. And save and... or time and date. Ah, gotta adjust my seat. Question now becomes... what next? I mean, there was that thing I was drawing originally. No way, that's my... I'm still on bloody... Alright, I'm using a different brush size now. Seeing how it goes. Let's see if I can draw what I'm thinking from memory. Damn it. That needs to be rounder. This is one of the parts where I wish I could properly turn it sideways. Or I wish I actually ended up finding that sketch I was looking for. No, need to... That's not quite right. Make you larger. Move you like here. Or here maybe? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I was being too... No, that's not working either. I need to find that picture. Hold on. Yeah, but no, that would require me to like go through my notebook or... Actually, I could probably just sketch from vision. Okay, not exactly my notebook, but my phone will have to do. Yep. Hold on, do I have something I can prop this up with? Just completely improvising on the fly yet, since this is my first art stream. Nope, that's not working. Need something flat but heavy. Okay, you know what? I'll just leave it flat. I have to keep my phone plugged in for its battery life, but I don't know, it keeps like trying to drag my phone off the table. Wrong way. No, it would be easier to just... damn. Sorry for this random delay. I need to send this to myself to then... I can't believe I didn't have this thing, like, saved somewhere already. What would be the fastest way to do this? Probably Discord. No. Yeah, for... Okay, so I'll just use Discord. Oh shit, which one? These guys that are who I was trying to draw. These are older drawings of mine. I wonder, does anyone else ever like look back at their older art and think, damn, I used to be so much better? Yeah, let's turn down the opacity so I know how to properly place everyone. Oh, that seems like a pretty good placement. And more opaque. And we'll start with this guy, because that's who I was trying to draw originally. Damn it. Maybe that's what I really should have done. Not jumping right into the deep end of... Yeah. Because when I started doing digital art, I decided that was also the time I would start moving out of my comfort zone and trying to do a more anime style. Or at least even just trying to do more human looking things rather than these general blobs and overt cartoon characters. Probably doing both at the same time, trying as in like doing a medium outside of my comfort zone and doing a style outside my comfort zone wasn't the best thing. I should have just gone back through a lot of my older stuff and digitize them. I mean, that'll probably be what I end up doing now. Maybe I'll use these streams as my opportunity to do exactly that, to be honest. Ow, fuck my hand. Yeah, back then I was doing these really round ball-like hands because I just didn't know how to do hands and really didn't want to spend too much time on them. I still find drawing hands to be the most annoying part of drawing, but hey, it's part of the craft. Why'd I give this guy 4 fingers? 3 fingers would work so much better. I think I gave him 4 fingers because I messed up the positioning. Yeah, that was probably why. Left too much space over there. But I mean, I can amend that now. No, that just looks weirder. Deesh. Yeah, that's decent enough. Yeah. Increase the hand size. That probably would be for the best. I could definitely use this opportunity to at least make a few adjustments. I keep hitting that. Make a few adjustments to how I've done things like these guys' hands. And how bald fist. Here we go again. No, that doesn't look right. Yeah, that's about as good as I'm getting. Yeah, I don't think these really matter, but might as well include them. Mhm. Yeah, sorry for the onset silence. Just I think that I'm focusing so much on the line. They just don't know what to say. And oh my, okay, this is the part where I have to like angle myself weirdly in order to draw certain curves. It's even worse. It's even worse because I can't put my pad directly in front of me. I have a much more limited angle of movement. There. Yeah, I mean, You know, I should honestly do this with some of my sketch work more often, where I just like try to smooth things out by erasing. Don't know exactly if that's a good thing to do. But I think by this point it should be pretty obvious. I'm not exactly one for whatever is deemed appropriate artist protocol or whatever you'd call it. I just kind of want to do something, anything to fill the void. Yeah, fill the void. How doesn't that sound dramatic? Fill time. And when I fill time in a way that I actually enjoy, mind you. Like, yeah, by all means, fill time with your work, or your assignments, or your education, or what have you. But a guy's gotta have hobbies, you know? Everyone needs a hobby. Everyone needs something to kill, something enjoyable to kill the dead air. I don't think that's how the saying is supposed to work. I get my sayings mixed up a lot, don't I? Point is, have hobbies. Trust me, they are very important to your well-being. You know what I need to do with my description after the stream? I need to put regrettably, my Twitter account, because I refuse to call it its currently official name. But yes, I do have an account on the ever so infamous Hell site, as it is so hatedly called. And mostly just out of the fact that it's so common and ubiquitous with the genre content. Uh, I mean, I haven't done anything with my Twitter. I have a Twitter account, I just don't really do anything with it. I said I was gonna... It was one of those things where I said, oh, I'm gonna post it after I finish this one thing, you know? After I clean up this line work, after I add this shading, after I do a full turnaround of this character, then I'll post it on Twitter. But like I was saying earlier, I gotta wonder how much of that was me just making excuses to not post something. For better or worse, I'm posting a bunch of stuff. I'm posting like 3 things today, probably. This sketch from the stream, my character, or the full body image of my character, and the finished... What? What do you mean don't do that? Oh right, you want to probably like... You mean it's better to drip feed it? Post Instead of posting a bunch of stuff at once in bursts, better to post like daily, one thing daily? Or do you believe like you shouldn't post there at all? Oh, that's what you meant. Post regardless of rendition or finished state, right? This sketch is definitely going up. I don't know, would you say it's better to post stuff as a sort of drip feed? Like one... Right. Do you think it's better to post stuff like in a drip feed, like one thing a day? Or would it be easier to just post all the currently finished stuff I got? My arm. Look at every other artist and you can see how their art and character evolve. Right, right. Drip feed tends to burn you out, at least for me. Eh. I mean, with how algorithms tend to favor daily uploads, drip feeding seems to be like the smarter thing to do. Like, even if you have finished content, better to string that content out to buy you time. I mean, I suppose I should at least post my character and this sketch today. As if I do continue running streams, next stream will probably be me, or I'll most likely what's gonna happen is that I'll go collect as much of my old art as I can, and like trace over them to like update all of my pencil drawings into digital. I should probably like increase the size if this is what I'm doing. I know you're supposed to do like the fillering and coloring in like at the end after the finished sketch, but I don't know. Whenever I finish the pupil, I always just like to black it out as a habit. Also, here's a random MOBA. I think Heroes of the Storm. There's a rumor. I've been hearing rumors going around that it's making a Blizzard wants to make a comeback with it. Or at least BlizzCon or some other games thing that Blizzard was a part of. They talked about like some big crossover project between a lot of their IPs, which made everyone think of Heroes of the Storm. Who knows, maybe they're gonna go pull an Overwatch and make Heroes of the Storm 2! I've honestly been thinking of actually trying out Heroes of the Storm. It seems like a very fun, casual MOBA. Kind of like Pokemon Unite, just not as casual as Pokemon Unite. Yeah, finish up over here first. Ah, this curve of angle of curve. This. It's in the absolute worst position for me to try drawing it like this. But I do it anyways. I did it anyways. It's done. You know, sometimes when I speak, I sound like that word. Okay, so there's this word girl. It was a PBS kids show from a while ago, where that was kind of like it was a superhero show for kids that had like some things about to it, or like a spelling gimmick to it. Not really a spelling gimmick, more of a definitions gimmick, where the main character, Word Girl, would explain the definitions of various words. But it was only, I don't know, I always kind of saw it as like a more of a force gimmick, because a lot of the times the word aspect was just used for gags, rather than being like an actual educational type of show. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still educational. It's just that a lot of the word, like they'd go into tell the definition of a word, it just never felt very diegetic. Kind of like there was a pause in the action to just have this random definition thing. I'm getting off track. Point is, there was this character called, it might have been just Lady Redundant Woman, but I want to say it was Mrs. Lady Redundant Woman. Like, and her whole thing was that she had the power to copy herself a bunch of times. That's the other thing, like, they were very clever with their villains in Word Girl. They weren't just your typical superpowered gimmick villains. They all had a sort of theme where they would, like some word-based gimmick, but it was never outright. Like, the word gimmick wasn't an actual part of their character or power, but sort of like a, just a little quirk of the character themselves. For instance, Lady Redundant Woman, her power was to make copies of herself, but her quirk was that she was redundant. She'd always use two words that meant the same thing. There was another character called the Butcher, who his power was that he could just summon meat. Yeah, I'm not even joking. That was his power, to summon meat. But his word quirk was that he would butcher words. And that was kind of like a thing for a lot of the villains. I mean, some more than others. There was this, I guess you could call him the main villain, or at least the most prominent villain, called Dr. Two Brains. And his whole thing was that he was a mad scientist who had his brain spliced with an evil rat. Or was it an evil mouse? I forget. I think it was a mouse, yeah. And he was a mad scientist who always tried to steal cheese. And had like a bunch of cheese-themed inventions that would like turn stuff into cheese or whatever. He didn't really have much of a word gimmick. However, his intelligence kind of meant that he could stand toe-to-toe with Word Girl as like on an intellectual level. Oh, it was a rat. Okay, now you're asking if it was a mouse. I literally asked that. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a mouse. I think he would always call it his mouse brain and not rat brain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would always call it his mouse brain. But the main thing is that Doctor Two Brains was was Word Girl's arch nemesis, and had honestly the most like backstory out of all the villains. Cause Doctor Two Brains, I guess spoiler alert for this old ass kids show, Doctor Two Brains okay, yeah, it was a mouse. Doctor Two Brains used to be this guy called Dr. Boxleitner, I think, who was this famous scientist who helped out a bunch of different superheroes and even wrote a book on superheroics. But then the accident happened. Due to some weird experiment, his brain got merged with an evil mouse brain, and now he's evil. But the thing is, like, they actually show there's like multiple episodes and scenes that show just how much that mouse brain has affected him, and how much that mouse brain is actually the one in control of the body. Because there was even one where Dr. Two Brains and Word Girl swap bodies, but the mouse brain remains in the original body so that means you have the original Dr. Boxleitner in Word Girl's body, while Word Girl is now stuck in Dr. Two Brain's body with the mouse brain. And you can actually see Word Girl struggling to fight against the mouse brain, kind of showing that just how much of Two Brains is actually just that evil mouse. And it's still funny to think that that was like the most compelling and developed villain. I mean, a lot of Word Girl's villains were rather compelling, not necessarily because they had tragic backstories, but because they actually kind of took the time to make them feel like real people outside of their supervillainy. Like, you'd see villains going to the supermarket, taking vacations, even having like these temporary truce and treaties with Word Girl. And there was like a level of respect between the villains and Word Girl. I massacre it. And that's a swollen finger. I don't know why in the original drawing I like changed the positioning of the hands. I don't know. God, it looks so weird without like the extra coloring. Hold on, I gotta do something about that. I mean, I could color it. Nah, something more like that? I suppose this is where I show everyone my brilliant color skills. Behold. And do I use... Nah, I should probably use this. And then eraser. Bigger eraser. Bigger. Yeah, that'll do. I mean, technically, I'd probably use the wand and quick selection tools a lot more to color it, but since I've like put everything on the same layer, What other villains were there in World Girl that I've always found interesting? I mean, Dr. Two Brains is one of the standouts, to be honest. There's Chuck the Sandwich Guy, who was like, his whole character was that he was a joke villain among joke villains, even. Like, was villain out of, I mean, God. Like, Chuck the Sandwich Guy's whole gimmick was sandwiches, and he was basically Condiment King, now that I think about it. Chuck the Sandwich Guy was just Condiment King. Because he even had a condiment gun. But then you had Contrarian, which was a kind of joke, something on Conan the Barbarian. I think that guy's whole gimmick was his, like, word gimmick. Because he was literally called Contrarian, but I'm not sure. Yes, Condiment King. I don't know. I remember. And people say Kite Man is the most ridiculous Batman villain. Condiment King takes the cake. And the relish, and the ketchup, and the mustard. I mean, the guy's called fucking Condiment King. I guess the reason why Kite Man had a resurgence compared to, why Kite Man got the resurgence and Condiment King did it is because kites are marginally less embarrassing than condiments. And I've gone with a brighter red. I feel like I should have gone with a brighter red. Hold on, can I? Nah, I think the previous red was fine. It's honestly amazing how many ridiculous Batman villains have kind of been forgotten. Oh god, I forgot I'm gonna need to, like, change my brush size. Yeah, that'll come later. Like, there's some... Yeah. I'm trying to think. A lot of forgotten rogues, that's for certain. There was this guy called the Musketeer, whose whole gimmick was basically he was a musketeer. Acted like one of the three musketeers from the stories, wielded a rapier and went around gallivanting with that typical fencer-style musketeer look. Damn it. Kite Man turned based in the War of Jokes and Riddles. Ah, yes, that series. It was certainly an odd one. He designed. Oh yeah, right. For those of you who don't know, this little bit of trivia: Kite Man was the guy who designed the Joker mobile. And seriously, the only reason Joker liked the guy and kept him around was because of his name, Charlie Brown. I kind of a bit on the nose. Actually, like, how does is Peanuts, like, copyright? Does DC own Peanuts as an IP? Or is it in public domain? Okay. Like, does someone own the copyright for the name Charlie Brown? How does that work? Like, if someone if someone names their kid after a character, can the company sue? Yes, DC owns the IP, or yes, it's in public domain. Yeah, might as well just, like, do all the red spots now. Yes, as in it was so on the nose Joker kept him. Ah, that's what you meant. Where the fuck is the line? Oh, I never... Okay, gonna have to like do a quick detour and finish up. I can't believe I missed a line. It's a small thing. Really? What is the copyright behind that, you think? That's the wrong layer. They got away with it because his name was Charles Brown and everyone called him Chuck and not Charlie, so it avoided copyright because of how common the name was. I mean, I guess that checks out. But does that, hold on, does that mean that if enough people name their kid after after a character, that name can possibly skirt by unnoticed? Like if a bunch of people started naming their kids Clark, could then someone just have a vaguely similar, I don't know, maybe a vaguely similar name to Kent or some other common name? How many people in the world have the last name Kent, really? Or could you imagine, like, a name becoming so ubiquitous that eventually it can just, like, skirt past all this copyright stuff? Or what? Can companies, like, sue you if you name your kid after their characters? I probably want to get like different color, or definitely different layers for the different colors. Want a nice grayish. Nah, hold on. First, alright, I was just about to go on into a tirade about other Batman villains. I would talk about the Musketeer. But no, Turner D. Century, I believe, was a Wonder Woman villain. Or was Turner D. Century a Spider-Man villain? Or was it a Spider-Woman villain? God, I genuinely can't remember. There was this character called Turner D. Century, whose whole gimmick was that he looked like he came out of the 1920s and had a flying tandem bike and stole the Penguin shtick of weaponized umbrellas with a umbrella flamethrower. Wrong thingy? Yeah, I suppose I shouldn't, like, go too buck wild with the externals. Gotta make it at least somewhat easy to erase. Oh yeah, okay, so it was a Spider-Woman villain. And then we had we also had the likes of bloody... God, whenever you actually try to remember something, it's somehow so much harder. King Kraken was mostly just some one-off 2-bit villain who barely got any focus on the guy. Yeah, barely got any focus. There was Polka Dot Man, but Polka Dot Man's had a resurgence thanks to Suicide Squad, so he's not really in the same ballpark as some other forgotten villains. Oh yeah, the Wall is a Spider-Man villain, so that's... I was thinking of trying to remember the Batman villains, or the Batman Rogues Gallery, but yeah, there was the Wall, a guy who... I'll be honest, I don't know what that guy's deal was. To me, he always seemed like budget Sandman, or legally distinct Sandman. He was just some fucking wall. That's it. He was just a dude who dressed like a wall. I don't even know why I don't know why he chose to do that. I don't know what his power was. He was just a dude in a wall costume. Oh yeah, Calendar Man had Long Halloween, so I guess we can't really count him into the Forgotten Rogues Gallery. There was an entire channel dedicated to cataloging all of Batman's lesser-known rogues. I think there was one really old one. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Egghead and King Tut. Oh, there was the Penny Plunderer, if any... Like, that guy was fucking crazy. See, some villain whose whole plan or gimmick involved stealing... It was either... Hold on, I forget. Was his whole gimmick involving stealing pennies, or did he kill poor people and put pennies in their eyes? I don't know. Point is, there was some guy called the Penny Plunderer whose whole gimmick and shtick revolved around pennies. And originally, that giant penny in the Batcave, that was gotten from the Penny Plunderer, but eventually they retconned it to be from, like, a Two-Face heist or something. Also, apparently, and I learned this from a fucking YouTube parody by this guy Solid JJ, who does these, like, voice parodies of the Justice League. Okay, yeah, Maxi Zeus is like a better version of King Tut. Yeah, let me finish up what I was saying first. But like, apparently, legitimately, Penny Plunderer canonically in hell. Like, there is the Penny Plunderer is canonically in hell. Yeah. You know, it might be easier to... should I do the background? I feel like I should have made this lighter. Hold on. Use a lighter gray than this darker gray. Oh no, I used the eraser. That was why. Yeah, that's better looking. But yeah, Maxi, Zeus, and King Tut, two honestly pretty similar in concept villains. I know, but okay. Like, you had one guy who deluded himself into believing he was an awakened pharaoh, and the other guy who deluded himself into believing he was like, he was just straight up Zeus. Probably put this over here. Oh no, the eyes are gonna be weird. I don't want it to be like outright black, but I want it to be like close enough to black. What tool am I using? Right. Yeah, this should work. I mean, I guess you'd have Clock King, but Clock King is an odd case, because, I mean, he's shown up enough in different media that I won't call him a forgotten villain, but he's never really consistent with his appearances, you know? I think my personal favorite iteration of the Clock King was from the Brave and the Bold. I don't know, I just like that guy's royal getup. Look cool, in my opinion. And I don't know if his accent was supposed to be German or Austrian. But I don't know, it just fit the character. There was also Music Meister. I guess you could consider him a forgotten villain, considering he only had... he had one appearance back in Brave and the Bold. Then he got reintroduced in the Gotham series. And honestly, he had pretty cool entrance. Wish we had more of the guy. He came back for a short stint in the comics, but he really wasn't the focus, nor was his whole singing power gimmick. And then there was also the Music Meister from the Flash TV show, which I didn't really like because his gimmick was this, like, sleep thing that I just didn't care for. I don't know, I much preferred his actual, like, musical hypnosis power. I just think of what real obscure ones do I remember. There was this guy, I forget whose name, who like would... Gotham? Oh crap, I completely mixed up my genres. No, it wasn't Gotham, it was a fucking Harley Quinn show. Why did I call it Gotham? I don't even know why, like that... No, those are two different things, completely. No. Music Meister showed up in the Harley Quinn show, not Gotham. Gotham, I don't think there were many obscure rogues that showed up in Gotham. It was mostly Batman's main rogues gallery. All of the mainstays. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to, like... Oh, these eyes are gonna be a thing to do. Or maybe I was just being too zealous with my erasing. I don't know how I got those mixed up. My bad. My bad. I'm gonna have to go... I'm gonna have to make this off-white, aren't I? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go make that off-white. I didn't realize I missed a spot here. I know there was this one really weird Batman villain who strangled puppets for some reason. No, I think his story was that he was strangling puppets because, like, he wanted to commit a murder, but at the same time, he really didn't. So he kind of strangled puppets as a sort of attempt to forewarn people, or to forewarn Batman in the hopes that Batman would stop him. That was a weird one, to be honest. But also, speaking of Batman villains, like, the Batman Beyond series, for those of you who don't know, Batman Beyond was a sort of sequel to the animated Oh no, Puppet Wrangler, or Puppet Ringer, whatever the heck that character's name was only appeared in, like, one comic. When did I make the shoes? This color. It's gonna look really weird if this is like the only colored character in the entire roster. I don't know why, I just really wanted to color in this character. I guess just so I remember what the color scheme is supposed to look like. But yeah, puppet, puppet strangler or whatever he was showed up in like a single comic and then never again for pretty obvious reasons. Another obscure one was Dr. Death. He's had like a few revisions, but originally he was kind of basic, to be honest. He was a guy who threatened to unleash some virus on Gotham if he wasn't paid a ransom. So yeah, pretty basic stuff for Dr. Death's appearance. I mean, there was this one time he became this weird bone monster, but that's a different thing altogether. I don't know why I've just decided to take a break from the sketching to just color this one specific character in. Maybe if anything, it just gives me an excuse to make the stream go on for longer. A lot of empty space though. Oh, did I? Okay. And I'm gonna need to use off-white. Off-white gray or off-white yellow? I think yellow gives more of like the impression of aged, so off-white. Let's try off-white yellow. How does that? Yeah, that looks good. In fact, if I just do my cards, my lines right, I shouldn't even have to do that much erasing. Yes. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to like do these ones. Maybe the gloves should stay like stark white. Yeah, probably. And this one's probably gonna have to be erased. Personally, my favorite villain has always been Mad Hatter, purely for his portrayal in the Batman the Animated Series. That's got to be like my favorite rendition of the character. How does this look? Yeah, I'm gonna need to put that off-white on the... I don't know, it just... having this off-white here just makes the gloves look uncolored, so... Then I need to bring back this because it makes it. Oh, bollocks! I really screwed the pooch on that one. Does anyone still use that saying, screwed the pooch? It's an odd saying, really. Quite frankly, I don't even remember where I heard it from. Yeah, it's an odd phenomenon where you know you've heard something, some saying or other from somewhere, but you can never quite remember where, and for some reason no one else can. It's like this little bit of common parlance that just sticks around. And maybe a cooler white to separate the cufflinks at the very least. Not you? Let's try just erasing here. That way there's a bit more of a separation between the whites. I should probably bring this back so I can actually see. It's a minute thing, but it makes a difference. Hmm. Uh-oh, I'm holding the wrong fucking thing. And you shall now be called Chomp. Because I hate Chomper from Garden Warfare too much. Yeah, let's do this bundle of joy right here. And this design in particular, because we all know the idea of the half. I'm using the wrong color. We all know the idea of like the half smiling, half frowning cedar mask, and I always thought like, what if you just slightly angled them differently? Like you had the frowning face looking one left, and then you had the frowning face looking one way, and then the smiling face looking the other way. Because it could still work as a mask. And if, like, the eyes, you don't have to move the eyes, it would just be moving the mouse. I guess that'd be kind of uncomfortable, though. Hmm. I could never figure out how to do noses. And it's never looked right to me, you know? At least whenever I would do them. Don't know how other people got them to work well. Maybe it's because those noses weren't actually black lines, but rather some kind of like shading thing. I don't know why this single tooth is messing me up so bad. Better. Ah. Okay, gonna probably do this. Yeah, that looks a bit more natural. I'm never gonna stop hitting that hard, am I? Yep. I don't know what other things in my also ancient repertoire of villainy he has there. I mean, since I'm drawing a character with a straitjacket, anyone else think that the Batman Beyond Joker design was actually kind of cool? I don't know, like, I get it, people kind of are all used to the typical suited clown prince of crime. But, I don't know, I think that the Batman Beyond Joker with his straitjacket was honestly a pretty interesting rendition. A straitjacket just kind of suits the Joker. I mean, you even see that with Gotham, where Jerome mostly wore a straitjacket for like entire episodes. Or was it just one episode? I forget. It's been a while since I watched that. To be honest, I didn't really So I didn't actually hop into watching Gotham until the Mad Hatter became a character, and I was so happy to see him being a major player. Like, there's a lot of compelling stories you can tell with the idea of a hypnosis or mind control theme villain. It's kind of like in the same vein of how Scarecrow's hallucinations can make a hero actively confront their fear. Hypnosis okay, so how hypnosis works is that it can't necessarily force you to do things you don't want to do. Like, that's like generally accepted aspect of hypnosis. Meaning things that you do under the influence of hypnosis are things you either consciously or perhaps even unconsciously want to engage in. Which made a certain Gossams theme of Gord, of Commissioner Gordon, or not. Well, I don't think he wasn't a commissioner at the time, but the character of Gord in really struggling to, or how do I put it in a way that YouTube would like? Basically, the Mad Hatter was trying to use his hypnosis to get Gordon to jump from a high place without a parachute. I don't know if that actually like hides it from YouTube's fuckery. Okay, to be fair, like saying YouTube's fuckery kind of makes it obvious, but eh. By this point, I've said it enough times, and hey, the more I curse in these videos, the less likely I'm gonna have to deal with it being considered kids' content. I should probably save from this point. Mm-hmm. Might not ended up coloring everyone in this stream. Might just like finish this sketch of Looney here and then finish the sketch of the starfish looking guy who I never really named, and then call it there. And then just have that one random NPC looking guy just be the only one who's colored in. I don't really see much of a point in coloring the penguin, because I already have a different colored version. I guess if I do end up coloring everyone in, it would mostly be for completion's sake. In hindsight, I should have used this 2 with 4. But everything's clearer in hindsight. I remember South Park when it was doing that whole superhero trilogy. I believe they call it the Coon trilogy. They had Captain Hindsight as a recurring character. He was a character in this mini trilogy of theirs. And he had his whole shtick was that he had the power of hindsight, which was honestly just kind of useless. And I crossed my legs and ended up hitting my desk so much there. Okay, so this thing was like designed or inspired by the design of a straitjacket. Thing is, I didn't actually know how to draw one, and I couldn't really. And at the time, like I drew this character years ago, and just kind of couldn't be bothered with how to actually draw a straitjacket or how straitjackets are actually strapped together. So I kind of just winged it. Like, okay, we'll just give her like a fucking hospital gown and throw some belts on it. Yeah, that looks enough like a straitjacket. Just like a bunch of random belts and buckles here. Like, fucking. I guess this is a design trope in and of itself. Too many belts. I swear that's a design trope of some sort. I know it is for like. I mean, is it anime? Yeah, definitely an anime, but also I think like just a lot of games where you'll have entire outfits just covered from head to toe in belts. And like not even functional belts, just random belts everywhere. It's ridiculous and I love it. To be honest, my love for art comes from the ridiculous and absurd. I forgot to need a really... Actually, if I just use my... Yeah, I can just use my mouse to create these dots. Probably for the best. And that's kind of like why cartooning was my... for what got me into drawing. Because I just love the elements of exaggeration and ridiculousness that came with cartoons. That also probably explains why I like anime so much. It's because anime is oftentimes fucking ridiculous. With its over-the-top fight scenes, ridiculous powers, nonsensical plots, and scenarios. Like, it's ridiculous, and I love it because it's so ridiculous. Like, where's the fun without the camp, you know? This is why you can't use your goddamn style just to make tiny dots on Krita. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Screw it. Yeah, crossing my legs was a poor choice because now I'm hitting it ever so more hitting my desk ever more frequently. Ever more frequently? The fuck? I just realized this is not how a belt goes, but fuck it. I can fix it if I ever do this character or give this character a proper redraw. Oh yeah, I completely reversed it here. Like, they're on the completely wrong sides of what it's supposed to be. The buckle and the holes, I mean. I guess I might as well just do it for posterity's sake, propriety's sake, whatever. Because I have it on there already. How's it coming along? Yeah, it looks good. Just need to do all this. I put a lot of effort into these shoes, didn't I? I don't know why. I guess I was just I felt that the upper half of the body was just kind of basic looking, essentially just being a white dress with belts. So I decided to go crazy and give this loony character fucking rat shoes. They are very cute looking shoes, though. I know I made like a pencil colored version of this character and have that somewhere or other. I'm gonna have to, considering, okay, I'm gonna end stream after I trace the last few characters here. In the next stream, I'll go color them in and then do some more tracing. Hmm. You know, when it comes to posing, I did fairly well with this character, I think. I have a habit of doing some pretty static poses, but I don't know, this character seems pretty lively. Maybe a bit too straight in some areas, but don't mind that. And yeah, that's gonna have to do. Oh, that is gonna be a pain to try coloring around, but hey, details. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I shouldn't have filled you in, should I? Don't worry, that's an easy fix. Voila. Oh, okay, probably should like thicken the lines a bit. There. And now the last sketch for the day. This crazy looking motherfucker. I feel like these three characters were supposed to be like a part of one overarching suite or theme, and I've just kind of forgotten over the years. I mean, I know that this guy up there, this guy over here, was based on an anglerfish, and this one was supposed to be based on a starfish. So I guess it was like this whole sea-themed circus thing. I don't know. I just realized I didn't make a new layer, did I? Crap. Yeah, this guy would be as like complicated to, well, not complicated, but take as long to color in as anglerfish up there, or chomp. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like rushing this one a bit more. Or that I'm just naturally getting frayed at the ends here. If I just like move closer. Yeah, that's slightly better. And let's see here. Once again at that point where I just don't know what to talk about. At least not without spinning my wheels. Yeah, a bit janky on that line. God, it's getting hot in this room. I swear, sometimes my room feels like a furnace. Of course, that's only when I have to have the door closed for streaming. The actual hallway outside my room is pretty cool, but in order to avoid too many noises, I have to have the door closed. I don't wonder why I kind of didn't go with the same thing as the other guy where the mouth was where the eyes were. I guess just to like switch them up. I don't know, maybe if I do end up redoing this guy in particular, I'll move it so the eyes are in the stomach so it matches more with Chomper. Chompy, Chomp, whatever. And I'm just gonna go zoom in and do like tiny dot here. Larger dot here. Crazy eyes. Fucking crazy eyes. I gotta wonder why crazy eyes are always depicted with asymmetrical pupil size. Like, is that an actual phenomena that is seen, or is that just like what has become the common way to depict this kind of stuff? Or to depict that happening? Why did I give this guy bear trap hands? I don't know, I'm starting to just realize there were a lot of weird design decisions with this character. Like, bear trap hands. Of all things, bear trap hands. Why? I ask again, why? And oh god, the lines. Could you imagine having to like animate a character like this with all these stripes? Ugh. news. Really, what was I thinking with this character? I guess I wanted at least this smile in particular to seem more fabric-y compared to the other one, whereas Chomp has this whole like metal teeth thing going on with a clearly hollow inside. This one was supposed to look more like, I guess, a burlap sack. I admit, I'm kind of like speeding through this guy since the stream's been going on so long, and he is the last one on the I said I was gonna do. Damn, Christ, I really do have to like work on my setup if I do continue these drawing streams, so I'm just hitting my desk less. I have a feeling that coloring this one in particular is going to be a bit more of a headache. I don't even know how some of the stripes line up on this guy. It just makes no sense. Fill tool. Oh yeah, there is a fill tool. Like there's two ways of doing it. Either you use the fill tool and then go back in with a smaller brush to fill in all the edges, or you just use a large brush, color it in big sweeping strokes, and then use the eraser tool to erase anything that falls outside of the line. Personally, I use the latter. Oh, God, this guy looks even sketchier than the others. Yeah. Gonna really need to gonna have to redo this one especially. And I'm gonna have to also like post a link to my Twitter. Jesus, I'm sorry, but it is so fucking hot today. I don't know why. Like, it was cold yesterday, cloudy yesterday even. Fall is upon us. And yet some days it still feels like it's fucking summer. I guess on the subject of weird burlap suits, anyone ever see a fucking sun bear? Like, it's a common joke that's search up sun bear and just look at it, and then ask yourself, does this look like a guy in a suit? I know, maybe Ah, I should try drawing a sun bear to look like a creepy suit, or ooh, a sun bear animatronic like FNAF. Not like FNAF 1 type, but more like Showbiz Pizza interpretations of FNAF. That'd be cool. Sonny the Sun Bear, legally distinct from Freddy Fazbear. Oh god, how does this bear trap work? Why? Why did I give this guy bear trap hands? Of all things, I gave him fucking bear trap hands. I think the reason why is because I didn't want to draw hands. Or I didn't think he'd look good with hands. So I thought bear traps. For some reason, I still don't get it. I think there's just my attempt to like... Maybe it was my attempt to give him claws without them just being claws, you know? Okay, I probably should have just zoomed in here. That would have made it easier. And now for the legs. You know, I just realized something about the FNAF mimic. Okay, this is gonna sound really random, but I noticed with the FNAF mimic, the eyes are designed with these yellow coils, which kind of makes the mimic look like it has crazy eyes from cartoons. I I don't know if that was intentional at all, but like it's just a design thing I noticed. Or at least I now notice. Just randomly popped into my head for no apparent reason. And then the banana feet. Because I guess I just didn't want to give this guy shoes. I don't know why, but for some reason, as soon as I said banana feet, in my mind, I just started hearing the fucking banana phone song. God, been age since I've thought about that. And it's a really odd thing to think about, a fucking banana phone just go song. And probably going to, I think they'd probably be better like this. I don't know why, but having it be, ooh, wait, maybe, yeah. And taking a look back, yeah, this is just a few of the random sketches I've done today, I suppose. Just zooming out. Can't say it's like a lot of sketches. I know there's some people who can fill an entire page within the first 2 hours of their stream. I am not one of those people, I'm afraid. But coloring will come in later, at a later date. Actually, I wonder if I should have like this, if I should just keep them all in a sketch at first, just for like consistency's sake. I don't know, it was kind of random that I decided to color in this guy. It was very random that I decided to color in this guy. So it's like more visually cohesive to have it like this when I post. And then when I do everyone's color, you get the point. And then I'm just gonna hit save. And I'll be posting this and probably the one full body picture I have of my character model. So with that, I've been ClockworkCartoon, full-time cartoon villain, and I'm never gonna come up with my own outro, am I?